So this is exclusively for you guys right here on the stream and the YouTube channel. This is not going to go on the feed, but there are a few other things that happened this week. We just are kind of jam packed, and this is a yes ONR 0 hour. Yes, exactly. Um, so Donald Trump was hit with the RICO
Yeah.
for trying to in my new state of Georgia. Um, and there are several people about to go down with him, and they have 9 days to all get their back straight. And
9 business days.
yeah, 9 business days to get their back straight and submit themselves to the law.
Yeah.
You know,
To be fair, it's now at this point. Tomorrow will be 7 days.
see,
It's
time
counting down.
flies.
They got until Friday of next week at noon to turn themselves in. High noon.
Incredible. I woke up to this news this morning, and I've largely been checked out on all the Trump stuff for a
Right.
while,
I
and
imagine.
I just was like, all right, he got hit with the RICO, so
Yeah.
maybe Trump was in YSL.
Those are two different. Those are totally different RICO cases in the state of Georgia, right? Going on right now.
One off is handling the Young Thug, and then the next is handling the Trump.
Rich, I
Amazing.
believe it's the same office. It's handling
Amazing.
both.
Look at this, the versatility. Who knew?
The versatility.
Yes. Hit with the RICO, they repossess your vehicle, yeah, all that stuff Jay-Z was saying. But usually that means, the RICO stuff, to my knowledge, was combated, or it was invented to combat organized crime.
Right.
Where
and to also an extent terrorism, even though they've never really hit the KKK with it, even though they also could.
Well,
yeah.
Some say that
they can't arrest themselves.
This is the first time,
Oh, this is that's funny.
Shout out to Tanya. But
oh man.
Yeah, man, I saw this and I was like, well, Rudy Giuliani, I believe, is caught up in this.
Yep.
Kanye's publicist, who the lady's name escapes me at the moment, but there's a lot of people that are going to have to figure out what they're gonna say. What's the story? This isn't necessarily the most organized, clean group in the world, at executing whatever they choose to execute. Like I believe Taz said, a sloppy shop. That's kind of what this is here. So I don't know. Do they all get in a room together and huddle? Like I imagine they're not sending any electronic messages to each other at this point. They're gonna have to meet at the underground tunnels of Mar-a-Lago and delete them flight records.
Yeah, man. Like the same way that they found all them boxes of confidential records. Like there's already enough there. Like people have been covering this particular thing for months, or actually at this point now since January 6th. So, no, actually, I go back even further. Since the election, when he called the Secretary of State in Georgia and said, "Hey, can you find more votes for me?" Right, 21. Can you do something for me? Can you hit a little rich flex for me? Right, like that's been going on this long. This has been going on since literally 2020. So, like there's people that have testified like during the January 6th hearings or whatever else that like this person said this in the Oval Office or this person said this in the White House as far as trying to make all this stuff work over time. And ultimately then because there's multiple indictments from different districts or different parts of the country at Trump for different things, like the insurrection is being handled in DC. This is being handled in Atlanta. Right now, he's facing like the tax fraud stuff in New York, and also like I don't know what the jurisdiction is on the confidential records that he had in Mar-a-Lago, but like that could be South Florida. So it's like, and all this stuff kind of overlaps. Like the same people that are involved with like the election scam is also like some of them are involved with the insurrection. So it's like a lot of these same people finna be a lot of these people like in for the same thing. And this RICO charge is like, I don't know what protections they necessarily have, and you know how that goes. Like, is RICO like all the stuff we've heard about Trump as far as like he has he'll hire a assembly line of lawyers to sign paperwork and do all this stuff for him. He can hit a RICO charge. Like, it don't matter now because they think he's a mob boss, so he ain't got to actually have signed this stuff. He told people to sign this stuff. So anything's up in the air when it comes to the probability of stuff, but like he's kind of been dead to rights for years with this, and it really comes down to like who's going to put on these juries that are going to like try to let him skate on this. But like there ain't no way, or at least I imagine it's hard to imagine someone can skate over like seven at this point. I think it's over 70 felonies. So
it's just going to come down to the right district attorney saying no, he will not go. Like,
yeah, and,
like
and there's also the part where like. And there's also the part where, like, in some cases, he was trying to run out the clock. Like, he was trying to, try to run for election again. And then, like, if he gets the White House again, he gets pardoned himself. It goes away.
Yeah.
Like, that don't work. That's not going to work in Georgia because that's not – it's state. It's not federal.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, like, that he was trying to run that game beforehand and was trying to work with the stalling tactics that a lot of rich people do as far as, like, hey, let's try to stall, or whatever else. Which, you got the money, that's what you do to try to play, this game with, years of your life in line in your favor. But like these courts so far have been like, nah, all these delay tactics that people normally try to pull, nope. You got 9 days. You all got 9 days to turn yourselves in. You're not getting a month. You got 9 days. I think it was last week. Last I checked on the federal thing, like he was trying to delay to get like a week and a half, and they were like, no, end of Friday, end of the week. Like you said, like you're not available Thursday. All right, Friday. You say Thursday next week. No, how about Friday this week? So there's been a lot of that with him. Like these courts are aware of the bullshit he's trying to pull in the late tactics, and man,
I gotta say, I'm rooting for the law on this one.
I'm rooting for the law.
I don't normally do such things like that. Like, but I could go for Ellis Carver. I could go for Ellis Carver standing on top of the car yelling, "You do not get to win, shitbird."
Wow.
You know who wins? Like, you need to march your ass in here and put on the bracelets. That's what I want to see. I want the mugshot. I want to put the mugshot on a shirt and sell it.
They haven't allowed the mugshot.
I heard it's happening.
No, there have been. How do I say this? I think there were ones when he's been brought in before where like I think either there were mugshots or there was a mugshot, but either way they weren't released to the public.
Man,
I don't know if this one will be or not, but either way, like
we need
you know what's gonna happen. You say you're gonna sell him. Shit, he gonna sell him too.
Look, somebody gonna need to make some money off of this.
Like, cause he's gonna play this same game that like I am a political, I'm being tried as a political prisoner. Like, yeah, that's what he's trying to do.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Enough Trump. But 50 years of hip hop. Actually, it was the birthday of hip hop. August 11th. There was a big show that went on in Yankee Stadium that was like an 8-hour show. Started while nobody was there. It was just the DJs until the entire stadium was filling up hours later. I watched about 4 hours of it, like on and off, like maybe like 4.5. I thought it was phenomenal. Just bringing out every person you can think of under the sun, like old, new, everything. And it was just like this large like celebration of music and rap music and in the Bronx at Yankee Stadium. Kind of a legendary concert. I believe Nas was the one that organized it with his company Mass Appeal, and they spared no expense. Like, it looked great in there. And just rap in general, like I owe so many things in my life to rap. And it's just like whether it's like listening to music and learning a lot of different things, it's just kind of molding your own personalities by doing it. And just doing it myself, and the people that has allowed me to meet, James included, um, and I've been able to make money off of rap. I've been able to go across the world, like in different places, and perform my talent and just share it with the world, and have like kind of a way to express myself. So like I think hip hop turning 50 years old, it is pretty cool. And I was trying to imagine like other genres of music if we were getting the founders out there on stage. Like Cool Herc was on stage with like a lot of like Curtis Blow was on stage, MC Shan was on stage, KRS was on stage, Slick Rick was there, Wayne was there, T.I. was there, up to like all the new people. And it was just like, it was so great to see just like this converging of people and styles and time periods. And it's just like they had Dougie Fresh up there and killing it with Busy B, and it was like they had Kool Moe Dee come out there with Grandmaster Caz, and they were rapping over the Otis instrumental. It was wild. It was a really cool thing. So like if you guys haven't seen it, it's on YouTube for free. I would recommend checking that out. But any thoughts on 50 years of hip hop, James? Is it just
it's interesting.
Fuck rap?
No, what?
Is it
Nah.
Right?
Nah, I don't listen to modern rap, or I haven't for like about a decade now at this point. But it's not because I don't like rap. It's just that like it doesn't move me the way it did. I listen more to, love songs. I don't know. That's kind of where I am now. I listen to the R&B. I listen to the ooh yeah, ooh yeah, ooh yeah. But yeah. Obviously, like, there's no other genre of music that's influenced my life or had an impact on my life like rap has. It goes without saying, like, and I don't know, like, I never really thought about this till now, but like, if rap didn't exist, it was another genre, it was like something else in its place. Like, how would we all act? What would we have dressed at? What would we have modeled ourselves after? Like, who we have seen as like inspirational? You know what I'm saying? Like, what would our politics be, and what would the politics we have learned and grown from after the mistakes of some of the rappers that we thought were deep but aren't actually deep, and we learned, nah, don't do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's really interesting to think about that, like the butterfly effect of like my life if not for rap. And I quite frankly, I wouldn't want it the other way around, where it's not around. So yeah, 50 years, and it's been like the dominant genre of popular music, or most influential one, for 30, roughly 30.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, and like it's had a longer staying power on top than rock and roll has had. Like rock and roll, you go back to Chuck Berry, and like about the time we get to like the 2000s, it stops right there. So like maybe they did get to 50. Do you think rap music is going to stop being the dominant genre of music in the next 10 years? I don't.
Anything is possible, right? But I'll say this about rap right now: it needs something. Like something else has to happen. Like a new super duper star has to emerge, I think, rather fast. Like, and it's like, there was
real quick. Yeah.
Do
you think that is a rap problem, or do you think that is a music business problem? Because I think that is a music business problem. Because where are the non-rap stars that have popped up? Are we gonna say Olivia Rodrigo?
I'll say like Morgan Wallen in country.
I would have to figure out where she is on Spotify, or where he is on Spotify, to find out like if he's actually a real star. Oh. But like a person that can do stadiums.
I believe he is. Hold on.
Maybe he is.
Morgan Wallen, per month, he's at 26 million.
That will put him in like the much, that's not Spotify. That much. That wouldn't even that'll put him like in the like what 50 to 100 on Spotify.
Yeah. Yeah, I know he's had
He'd be
some
behind Chris Brown
controversy
and shit.
about him and all that, but he's a new artist, so like
Yeah,
that
still
that's to
time to
his
grow and all
benefit.
that. But I
Um,
mean, you say that, but it's like about that, but it's like, all right, is there a bigger star right now about a new star? And like maybe we're not looking at it as wide as ranging as hip hop actually is. Like that Bunny is a rap superstar. He absolutely is. We don't think of him because he's not American and he mostly raps in Spanish, but that is a rap superstar. And like we kind of, it's almost like the Jokic and Embiid and Giannis thing. We're like, we just put that off to the side, like we acknowledge it, we know,
move
but like
over
we try to
there.
pretend like that's not the old standard. So we don't really know how to evaluate that. We just put it over here and acknowledge it. But like I would say that guy is a rap superstar. I think it would be preposterous to say otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Um, maybe use omission and slip yet, like, but I didn't pop my hand until just now thinking about it. But yeah, like that would be one. So yeah, like outside of him, who we got? And I mean who we got in the last like 5 years, 4 years, really, that became a huge star.
Like I think a lot of people wanted the babies, plural, to make that leap, but I don't think
Oh,
ultimately that's gonna be where they land.
yeah, I,
Um,
I think I think there's also a part of like same thing with wrestling is like you have to do it relative to the business. Like the music industry has shrank year after year after year for the last like 20 years. Um, so you know, it's become a thing where like the Taylor Swifts, the Beyoncés, a Rihanna, a Bad Bunny, like those people, yeah, they can do their stadiums, they can do their football stadiums or whatever else. But like the person that can go out here and say, I'm going to run and I'm going to go, 25 dates, do NBA arenas. There's less of those than there's ever been.
yeah, like I always look at it's like Drake, Kendrick, and Cole. Like who's following them? Like
Yeah.
and it's like it just seems like it's not like the people aren't there. Like and I don't know. It is a little scary, but
Do you think that's a part of it? Do you think that's the industry not trying to promote new stars? Or do you think that's just or do you think it's like the the guys that were the new guys that are the established guard now at this point, like Kendrick, like especially Drake. Like if he's on everybody's song,
he just never leaves.
right?
Um, I don't know, man. It's a answer I don't think anybody really has a great answer to, but
Yeah.
it's just like, man, there's gotta like someone has to come along. Like I don't know who, I don't know where they're gonna be from. That's gonna maybe they're in the UK, who knows? But um,
And just like for the record, like I don't have a problem with like them staying on top for over a decade at this point from where they started, right? I don't have a problem with that. I would just say that like everybody has a shelf life on their catalog of their collections of music, the best of stuff, and like after a certain amount of time, people like kind of just naturally check out on you, right? Like it's not necessarily about somebody just stop being good at making music. That's not the case. We've seen tons of people like Jadakiss stop learning how to rap or stop being raw at rapping. Like same for T.I. and all them other guys. It's just you have your time in the sun, and like a lot of this stuff comes down to perfect timing when it comes to making a name for yourself. And then after that, like people kind of say that's not that person rose to prominence, and it wasn't like it didn't resonate with me in that way, or that was like that's not my guy. That's my older brother's guy. That sort
mhm.
of thing. And then you have yours. Like we always talk about this stuff with Atlanta, where it's like, okay, you look at like Gucci and T.I. and Jeezy, and it's like, all right, all the like the guys that came up basically after that, they were all like really influenced by Gucci Mane. And locally that makes sense if you're there, but like nationally, you're like, wait, what? You know? There's also that time we were like, all right, Future or Crit. Future cannot rap Crit,
Yeah, they
but
pick Future.
Future became the guy, right?
Yeah,
you know, that's just how it is sometimes. So like it's just to see how this stuff all shakes out over time. And like there'll be somebody else because there's always somebody that's a star and always someone super talented. It just comes down to like at this point as like as these deals for people get more and more difficult, like to like you're better off for a lot of people. They're better off, you know, staying in their own lane, independent, compared to like being with a label. They have major label backing. Like it's gonna be harder to make stars because like the ones that see that they can really make a lot of money that they're, you know, really focused on the hustle, like they're not going to get that major level backing. And that's also the thing where like you see a lot of people like kind of fade into the background, is like they leave the major label stuff to go get the money that they were kind of not kind of were screwed out of, because that's the business. That's the business. Everyone gets screwed in their first deal. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like that's kind of just that's kind of how it goes. And like I you know, for I think for a lot of people, like no one thought this was gonna last 50 years. People thought it was gonna be like something that was gonna be around, and that's gonna be like a thing that you look at as like that's like a snapshot of time of like this, you know, generational thing, and it's done. Now it's multiple generations. Like this, like hip hop now could be a granddaddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without nothing crazy happening with no, you know, teen pregnancies and nothing like that. Like actual granddad or grandma, whatever you want to call it.
Dr.
You know,
Laird brings up a good point. He said TikTok's a music tastemaker now. Yeah, and social media has had a huge effect like the last couple years.
And that's music. That's music in general too. Definitely.
Yeah.
Like the homie Eddie Lacy can sell out a venue. They play his hooks. Everyone knows every word of them hooks. And it's time for the verses, and then it gets quiet. I think Eddie Lacy is a talented dude, but it's still like, damn, like y'all really are only here because of like what you got from that, you know, 30-second clip of TikTok. That's crazy. Yeah. You decided to go out in public in front of a group of people to vibe off the strength of, you know, 30 seconds of a song. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Another crazy thing, when feel-good stories go wrong, after all these years, The Blindside comes out as like a sham, a snow job, a scam, and worst of all, Michael Oher is, you know, has not been adopted. He has not been making the type of money he should have been off of this movie, and his parents tricked him. Parents, in quotations, tricked him into signing a conservatorship rather than a full adoption. And when you look at how that movie was made, where they imply that he was dumb and like he didn't know what the game of football was, and he was just this beast that they brought into their home that they poured their white love on and showed him, you know, the proper way to maneuver in the world and sent him to college. It's real sad because it's like, damn, as almost as unbelievable as that whole shit sounded, right? It actually was.
So man, I really don't know what to make of this, because like for a lot of people, The Blindside was a very polarizing movie. For a lot of people, it was like, this is a really cool story. That for a lot of other people, it was like, this is white saviorship stuff, right? And people have grown sick of that genre of film. And for me, I was in the middle, like I wasn't moved by the movie, but I also didn't think the movie was bad. Obviously, it's a real life thing brought to movie, so obviously, with dramatizations, and obviously, you know, there's cap for all these all these biopics, right?
I'll tell you the biggest cap right now. Sandra Bullock and Leanne Tui, they don't look nothing alike.
Well, I mean, there's also there's always that like Doctor I forgot his name, but you know, the concussion doctor and Will Smith. Yes. Like they don't look nothing alike neither. But yeah, man, it's to hear that, I was kind of like, wow, okay. So no one, we talked about this with Maya Moore a few years ago.
Oh, this is worse.
As far as like them doing a movie, like they hear a story, it's being reported, people have great things to say about this inspirational, tearjerker of a story, feel good story, and it's like, is anybody like vetting this like at least 2 levels deep, not 1 level deep, like 2 levels deep? Be like, okay, that's the story you gave me. Let me pull Freedom from Information Acts and see what this is. And it's so funny and it's so weird because like it's college football and all people do is go into Freedom of Information Acts, public universities, find shit that otherwise people would not have found out because it's there for you to find if it's a public university. Like, or people are just skeptical of hearing any story. Like, there was a dude that was at USC had a few years ago. And a story came out that like he broke his ankle or foot jumping out the window of the second floor of a house because his niece or nephew was drowning in the pool. People, story came out, USC put him, getting pounded in the bag, all this is great, all that. And then like 2 weeks later, story came out, nah, we think this guy jumped out the second story of a house, all right, but it was because he was caught up in something involving draws, right, in some type of an affair. So his story was he can't say, oh, I broke my shit, I lose my scholarship over that. So that's what the story he gave, and it came out, and USC swiftly, and it took like 2 weeks, and it came out. Like, why wasn't this when like there's millions of dollars involved with the story being pitched and all this kind of stuff? Why was this not vetted at all?
300 million,
right? Like, obviously, Disney don't care now because the movie's been made, they've made their money, whatever else. But like, what if that came out when they're in the middle of production, dozens of millions of dollars deep? I don't know if it's a Disney movie, whoever movie production company had this, they've been fucked.
Yeah, and Michael Orr, I believe, is opening a lawsuit himself, maybe against like his, fake parents and everything. And I hope he gets every dollar that he's looking for. And that affected his NFL career, like the perceptions of him around the movie. There was ESPN has a whole story. I would advise checking that out. I read this shit and I was like, well, I don't think I'm gonna like my day wasn't ruined, but I just read that shit and was just pissed. I was just like, big eye roll.
Yeah. But, and like, I don't remember. I remember parts of the movie. I don't remember his actual story as far as his recruitment, but it was like, given what, obviously some of the movies count, but given that they're in Memphis, like he's an SEC recruit, he ends up going to her alma mater because obviously, the how close Memphis is actually to Oxford, Mississippi, and it's like maybe he wanted to go to Tennessee, maybe he wanted to go to Georgia, LSU, who the fuck knows? But the way that like in that movie, she was portrayed as leaning on him, and he ended up doing, going to doing him a solid, doing the things that like Snoop Dogg's son would do for him by going to UCLA instead of USC. It's like, how much that influenced his life? Maybe he wouldn't have went there. So like, yeah, it's crazy to think about it in that way. And like now it makes me question all the other stuff. Like I remember the one part that like really blew me when I was watching the movie was like when he walks, he's in a room or he's in a building, he looks up, he sees somebody, gives him a big hug, and then like Sandra Bullock's character is like, who is that? Oh, that's my brother. Like, how much of that was real?
Right.
Like, who knows? It makes you like, once something like this happens, it makes you be like, okay, like now this movie is like no good or even for a rewatchability thing. I'm supposed to be pointing out like how much of it is bullshit. Yeah. Now I'm waiting for like the clip on TikTok of people going through every little detail with a fine-tooth comb and being like bullshit, 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 and bullshit. Man. Nothing was real except for he ended up
going to college.
Except he ended up going to college at Ole Miss. That's it.
Amazing. Well, yeah, man. Let's get the show started, man.